wife left and went to Jacksonville, I believe.
Well, Mr. Harris would not have been in charge of the diagnostic center when the segregation of the school was in effect, was he?
I wouldn't think so.
Remember who was?
There's a gentleman out there now. It's a possibility that he might have taken over that job, Benny Green.
How about Robert Curry? Is that a name you remember?
I remember Mr. Curry.
And
he had an office in the back of the administration building.
And what was his job?
Well, I don't know if it was if he was supposed to be a psychologist or what he was, but I remember Dr. Sousa as a psychiatrist.
Were Dr. Sousa and Mr. Curry there at the same time?
Yes, Dr. Sousa was up on the hill. I think he had a little office up there where they built the new lockups.
What would lead a boy to being seen by Mr. Curry or Dr. Sousa?
I didn't understand.
Why would boys be seen by Mr. Curry or Dr. Sousa while you were there?
Well, that was maybe because of some problem that they might be having. They felt maybe the school principal might have had something to do in recommending Mr. Curry seeing these individuals.
Do you know if all the boys had to visit with Mr. Curry when they arrived? You don't know?
I don't know if that ever happened or not, but when a student came to the school, the first day that he was there, it was explained to him the program of the school.
Who would explain it to him?
Well, when I became a supervisor, I would call them away from the group at the cottage, or I'd take them up to the little office next to the director's office and talk to them. And of course, sometimes later, those who became homesick and it was detected or was told by some of the boys that an individual was thinking about running away or something like that, well, then he was counseled about that.
He was counseled about it?
Yeah, he was talked to, and if you know, a lot of times you could talk and that was sufficient. Sometimes they still go ahead and run away, but
you had a discussion about that when they first came to the school, when you were the supervisor?
Well, it was always explained to them if they ran away, what the consequences could be.
Well, tell me about that. What did you tell them the consequences were if they ran away?
Well, if the director made a decision to spank them when they ran away, they got a spanking and was dropped to the grub rank.
Okay, so the decision to spank a boy was up to the director?
He made a decision.
Okay. Could anybody else make the decision to spank a boy?
Not to me.
Okay.
It was always the director.
You were never permitted to make the decision yourself?
No.
It had to come through the director?
It had to be the director.
How about the superintendent? Could the superintendent make a decision to spank a boy?
He could, but I don't know of any case.
When the decision was made to spank a boy, and we're going to talk about what spank meant in just a minute, but when the decision was made to spank a boy, did the superintendent or the director participate?
The director always was there.
Always was there?
Yeah.
How about the superintendent?
No.
Was he ever there?
Well, if he was, not the times that I was down at with Mr. Hatton, you know, or to spank a boy. Superintendent never was in our presence.
Let me jump back for a minute. We got sidetracked a little bit. We were talking about Mr. Curry. Do you know why Mr. Curry left the school?
I really don't.
Do you remember the circumstances under which he left?
I can't. I don't know exactly what it was all about.
Was there an investigation at the school during Governor Claude Kirk's administration during which Mr. Curry left the school?
I think he's the governor that when he came out there and visited in the department, he suggested that all the boys needed to be in school. And I think that's the time whenever they closed the dairy, the farm, the garden, and all.
Governor Kirk was
industrial art shop, the sheet metal shop.
Governor Kirk was upset by what he saw at the school, was he not?
Object to the form. Yes, sorry.
What was that?
You can answer the question. They're just objecting.
What was the question?
The question was whether Governor Kirk was upset by what he saw when he came to the school.
Same objection.
I didn't hear anything he was upset about. Of course, that wouldn't have come from the superintendent to me, you know.
Well, I didn't really think the superintendent would tell you, but do you remember reading newspaper articles either then or now where Governor Kirk was quoted as saying, if this was your child, you'd be out there with guns?
Object to the form.
Did you ever read anything about that?
No.
Did you ever hear anything about Mr. Curry sexually abusing any of the boys that were at the school? Never heard anything about that?
Well, if that happened and the superintendent got a hold of it, it wouldn't be a matter of waiting to decide what to do with Mr. Curry.
Because that's just wrong. Is that what you mean?
Well, you didn't. There's a few things, you know, that when the superintendent found out about it, I mean, if it's an employee, he didn't stay there. Just like, yeah, I mean,
do you remember we sent you, or through your attorneys, we sent you some questions about other people that were employed there when you were employed there to see if we could get a list of names. Do you remember signing these answers to interrogatories? Let me show you this signature page here. This one you just sent us. Is this your signature, Mr. Tidwell?
that's my signature.
Do you remember looking at this list that's attached?
I have seen it probably. I haven't seen this one, but what is the question about the names?
Well, what we've been trying to do is get a list of people that were employed there during the times that you were there and try to determine who is still alive.
Yeah.
And it's my understanding that was your effort to try to remember some names. Is that right?
But I'm going to look down the line and see if I can. I haven't seen or heard of anything on Mr. K. Fowkes, but he worked out there at the school and was very understanding and got along good with the kids.
What's his last name?
Foulks.
Okay. Is he still alive?
I don't know. I haven't seen or heard of him in the last few years.